Hello, y'all. So excited to see so many of you here. I see a few more coming in. I'm a little sick today, so pardon the way my voice sounds. I'm gonna let a couple more people come on in, and as you do, I sent you a worksheet. There's a worksheet available for you to fill out. So have that open. It's a PDF format. You can always put it into a Google Doc, but have that open if you'd like to. It has some guiding questions for you as we go through our session today, which is Fearless at High Noon. We're going to keep this to 15, 20 minutes or so that you can go grab lunch if that's what you do around noon. This is a masterclass today in being scared and doing it anyway. So fear, being scared, let's just think a little bit about what we mean by this. So whenever we want to make a change in our lives, whether that's a change we want to make in our body, in the way we're inhabiting our body, the way we are inhabiting our own lives, or whether that's something that is a little bit more external, like a change that we want to make to relationships that we currently have. Maybe it's obtaining a relationship, finding a person to start a relationship with, or even just dating and putting yourself out there. Or whether it's something like something external that's like a career change, or asking for asking for a raise, asking sort of pursuing starting a business. You know what? Hold on one second while I close this window. I'm hearing some gardeners outside. Give me one sec. That's better. Whenever we are pursuing some kind of change, what will happen is generally we have a lot of motivation right away for whatever that idea is, that vision. We can imagine what the impact of the vision will be on our lives. We can imagine really viscerally what it would be like to be in a new job, or to have a relationship that's really peaceful with the person that we share time and space with, to be a better communicator, or to have made changes just in how we are going about our day, how we're pursuing our goals. We get really excited about it. We can really viscerally, really tangibly imagine what that change will be like. And then as soon as we start moving towards it, or imagining what taking the first step would be like, or as soon as we start describing what we're imagining to someone else, doubt and fear kick in. So that is the fear that I'm describing today. It's like what happens when you want to do something in your life and you feel afraid. You can also apply that, let's say, to like if you're going up to do some public speaking, you might feel fear. That's doing something new and different, right? So today what we're going to look at is why fear pops up, so we better understand it, and what to do with it when it does. You in? All right, I see your thumbs up reactions, and I appreciate them. All right, so here we go. The first thing is, what I'd like you all to do is think about something, and you can use that worksheet again, something that you want to do in your own life, a change you might want to make to a career, a relationship, a life circumstance, or even your health, and then either describe it in that worksheet, or kind of write it down, or just hold it in your mind. What is something that you are excited to do and also have a little bit of fear around? Okay. So this is what we generally do in that circumstance when we have something we're excited to do and then have some fear around it. Here you can see my ridiculously fine drawing of a stick figure with some binoculars on, looking into the future and imagining what it would be like there on the other side. So generally what we do with fear is we decide that we just need to wait until we're more motivated. We see motivation as something that comes to us instead of something that we generate and have total control over. We take passive action. What I mean by that, I don't know, you can think about if this is you, maybe raise your hand if it is. By passive action, I mean we learn more. We take another class. We read another book. We watch another webinar. Hi, we're here in a webinar. We maybe watch an Instagram influencer or something that talks about a how-to. But we just convince ourselves we need to be more ready, right? Is that you ever? Think about that. And then we look for affirmation. So we're like, okay, so this is my idea. I want to lose 20 pounds and get super physically fit. And we say that to someone and we just kind of see their face. We think we understand what they might be thinking about it, that we've never been able to do it before, or whatever. We project whatever. We think we can mind read and understand what they're thinking. And then it starts to diminish that vision for ourselves. We often share ideas earlier than I recommend, because we need to generate enough belief in them to make them real solid before we share them with people outside of ourselves, unless we're okay with feeling the doubt that comes up. And then we also often wait until it's the right time. We do this with all kinds of things. We wait until we have more money to put into whatever the dream is. We wait until we have more time to put into it. We wait until we have more knowledge. We talked about that in terms of taking passive action up here. And we wait until we have more clout. So I'm just going to wait until I have more followers on Instagram. I'm going to wait until I have, until people respect me a little bit more. And so when I share this idea, maybe they'll be more ready for it. They'll believe I could do it more. I'm going to wait until I'm in a different job where I have more responsibility. So these are the things that we do. We wait for the perfect time to come. And the reasons that doesn't work, and the reasons that we do that, are because the human brain has a motivational triad here. And the motivational triad is, we like to, you can see here, do things that are easy. We want to do things that are easy. When our brain sees something that we convince ourselves is hard, it's going to shy away from it. We want to do things that feel good. And this actually heads on over to here as well. We want to, the third part of that triad is to avoid feeling bad. So these are the three parts of the motivational triad that this is what our brain goes to because of really old programming. We are programmed to do what's easy, avoid feeling pain, and do what feels good. Now, the reason that that's a problem is because in the moment, if we let that motivational triad, which fuels we can call it the lizard brain, right? Our old wiring, as human beings, if we let this reasoning run the show and make the decisions for us, we will be on the couch watching Netflix with our feet up, eating bonbons or whatever, right? That feels good. It's easy. It doesn't feel bad, right? It might feel bad eventually, right? But in that very moment, we will always choose the thing that sparks our attention. We'll choose a dopamine hit. We will choose to do something that feels real good in the moment. So that definitely doesn't look like working progressively toward a goal that will give us long-term benefits, the life that we want in the long term. So that's the problem with waiting for that motivation, is that our brains aren't wired like that. The motivation is not going to come. We're going to do every time in the moment what's easy, what feels good, what doesn't feel bad, unless we are practicing managing our mind. I'm going to tell you a little bit about. The other thing here, the other reason is we want tribal approval, and that is more old wiring in our brain. It's safer in the cave, it says down here. And what I mean by that is our brains are really outdated. And it used to, doing what's easy, doing what avoided pain used to keep us alive. Having tribal approval used to keep us alive, right? If we maintained connection to our tribe, it meant food, it meant shelter, it meant survival. And staying inside the cave meant that we wouldn't get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger, right? Now, our brains have evolved over the years, but not enough to meet the reality of our day-to-day experience. Right now, in our days, we pretty much, many of us, not everyone, we have enough without tribal approval. We have enough to sustain ourselves. We have enough to survive, many of us. We think, because of this outdated wiring and this desire for tribal approval, that when we feel rejection from a group or from any kind of social rejection, it means death. That's why we freak out inside. We get really uncomfortable when we when we have a sense disapproval or receive disapproval from someone outside of us. Now, that is outdated, right? If we got rejected from one group, there are lots of other groups that we can find. There are lots of communities that we can build. So just notice how much your brain dramatizes what other people think and any form of rejection. Okay. So this is another reason why that doesn't work, to wait for motivation and wait for all those things that we saw on the first page. In addition to just those things that we wait for, the problem that causes us from moving forwards toward our goals, the problem is that we often get confidence about whether or not we'll be able to do something from the past. Meaning, if we've done it before, we feel confident that we'll be able to do it again. Now, this is a pretty tired example, but it's so straightforward. I'm going to use it anyways. If a child learning to walk was trying to find their confidence for trying again and again in the past, they'd never walk, right? If every time we wanted to do something new, we had to get our confidence from knowing we'd done it before, we'd never try anything new. And so that is one of the problems with when we have a change we want to make in the future, and a goal that we want to set for our future selves. We think, okay, well, I'm going to believe I can do it based on whether I've done it before, based on when I tried and failed before. That will make me feel like, or that will lead me to the conclusion that I'm not going to be able to do it. But that's not how it works. We can do things in our future that we've never done in our past. We have to be able to. And we can do extraordinary things and make extraordinary contributions and serve humankind with the time that we have here by managing our thoughts to be able to feel the feelings that come up when we do scary things, which we're talking about in a moment, and managing our thoughts. And that is self-confidence. So the problem is that instead of using the self-confidence that comes from having our own backs, feeling whatever scary feelings come up, and managing our thoughts, we are depending on confidence in order to try new things. So that differentiation is confidence based on the past. Self-confidence is based on us knowing we'll have our own backs and we'll manage our minds as we move into the future. Now, the other real problem is that we see fear as a problem instead of thinking of it as something that, of course, it's going to pop up when we try new things. We understand our motivational triad. We understand that we think we're safer in the cave, and that's why fear comes up, and that's a great sign. Fear and doubt mean we're trying something that pushes us to grow, that pushes us to evolve. When fear and doubt come up, I would challenge you to start trying to change your perspective of those to seeing them as positives. I know I'm on the right track. I know I'm pushing myself. I am creating the life of my dreams, and I am a contribution to humankind in the world. I know it because I feel some fear about what I'm doing. And if you don't feel fear and doubt, you're probably not pushing yourself to contribute at the level that you could, or live the life that you could. It looks different for everybody. I'm not talking about everyone needing to write a book or start a company, but pushing yourself to grow, to be the best you that you can in relationship, in your everyday, in your relationship with yourself. That's what I'm talking about here. And for some people, it's writing a book. We see doubt as a reason to stop. I just spoke to that. We see fear as something's wrong. We see doubt as something's wrong. And we also see them as a sign, oh, that doubt's coming up that says that I haven't done this in the past. And so I can't do it again. The last 2 times I tried this, I failed. And other people don't think I can, so I should stop. Not the case. And the other problem is we let our automatic thoughts lead instead of doing the work to managing our minds. What I mean by that is being aware of the automatic thoughts that run through our mind all day, every day. There's more than 60,000 of them every single day that run through your mind. They're all based on past programming, and they're just like a dog left inside at home without having to walk. They're going to eat the couch. Those automatic thoughts are going to wreak havoc if you let them go, because 90% of them are unconscious. And so if we're not aware of what the thoughts are that we're having, we're just going to be sort of like replaying our old mistakes over and over again, and really making decisions that relate to our insecurities. We don't want to do that. All right. So that's the problem. Let's look at what we could do about it. What we can do when we want to try something new in our lives and when fear comes up is we can decide to try something. Like I said, you have this worksheet in front of you. And by the way, on the worksheet, if you have it, and if you don't, you can just write on a piece of paper. It's like, what is something you want to do that scares you? This might be a change you want to make in your career, relationship, life, circumstances, or health. So just describe that change that you're hoping to make below. And then, sorry, on your paper. And then answer the question, what stops you right now from action? Why haven't you done it yet? How is your brain creating fear because of the motivational triad? What do you see in yourself? Is it avoiding pain? Is it pursuing what feels good? Is it doing what's easy? And then how is your brain, now we're talking about the tribal aspect, right? How is your brain avoiding your goal because your brain wants approval from the people around you, from the tribe, from everyone? And next, we're going to make a plan for how to approach the goal with all those things in mind, like knowing how those things will impact what's going on for you. We decided to try something. What is it? Something that would really create the life you want and move you forward, encourage you to evolve. Something that might be a little bit scary. Now, step 2 is that you're going to write it out in the present tense. You're going to make it measurable. So, but what are you going to do by when, and how will you know you've done it? So by, excuse me, an example of this is in 6 months by XX date, right? So you really want to date. And what I want to make it present tense. So let's say it is, I'm going to use today's date. And let's say we made this goal 6 months ago. It is May 12th, 2022. And I have launched my own coaching business. I have run multiple webinars and I have filled up my client list. I have a full slate of clients. I have 20 clients, which is all I can take. So that was the goal I made for myself 6 months ago, and I've done it because I worked towards it one thing at a time. But it was scary. Things came up along the way. Leaving my job that I loved, that I had worked for 15 years in a company that I really believed in, was hard and scary. And I knew that the doubt that came up about not having benefits and insurance for my kids meant I was on the right track, because I had wanted to do this for a long time. I want to put my own ideas into the world and be a thought leader and help as many people as I can with this thing that I believe in. Then once we've created that, we start taking action. And I like to, excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. I like to call this taking massive action. Hopefully I can edit that out. Excuse me. So what I mean by massive action is you take lots of action. Excuse me. You take lots of action and you know that a lot of it's not going to work. You're going to fail forward. You're going to iterate. You're going to take lots and lots of action. You're going to do it now. And you know that you're going to trust yourself to manage your mind as you experience failure. And you're like, oh, guilt, shame, whatever it is. Did I do that publicly? Did other people see me fail? You're going to manage yourself to experience those things and manage your mind as you go through them. And that sort of leads to number 4, which is you start taking action. Oh, and let me just say here, the what and not the how. What I mean by that is I knew the goal 6 months ago. I want to have transitioned from working for someone else, even someone that I love and believe in, to working for myself so that I can increase the impact that only I can make as a human being in the world by contributing as much at the highest level that I can, and challenging myself to work through any ways I'm limiting myself so I can put my love and my vision out there. So I knew that's what I wanted. I believed in it so much, but I did not know how. I knew the first thing was getting certified, and I did that a year ago or a couple of years ago, and started that, made that decision and started it. And then I didn't know how though. And that is so key, is that we get stuck in, I just don't know exactly what it's going to look like. I don't know what each step is going to be like. You need to decide on the what and not the how. You will figure it out. You will not know how until you've done it. That is always true. No matter how well you plan, you don't know what's going to come up. So just start moving, start taking massive action. And then the biggest one, the one that when I'm working with clients, I work all the time with them on this is you've got all this. This is the easy part. You decide what to do. You make a measurable goal and you break it down into steps. It's something I didn't put on there, but we do that together. And then you start taking massive action day in, day out. And then your human brain starts firing day in and day out. Fear comes up. So we work through fear. Here's how I recommend you do it. Number one, you feel fear. Walk towards it instead of away from it. So instead of thinking that it means that something's gone wrong or thinking that it means we should stop our motion forward, we say, hi, fear. I can do fear. This is fear. I'm Marie. I can do fear. You're you. Say your name. You can, in your head, you can do fear. Fear is literally a vibration in our body. And I have to say that everything in life that we do is to pursue feeling good and avoid feeling bad. We saw that in the motivational triad. We also added easy in there, which is a part of it all. But really, everything, if you think about it, that you do is so that you can feel good. I want a new house. I can like feel proud of my house and feel the awesome feelings that I feel walking through my space. I think I'll feel at peace. I think I'll feel proud. I think I'll feel like everything's easier. That's an example of something we might want because we'll feel good. Maybe we avoid doing things because we're avoiding feeling bad. I don't want to say how I actually feel in this conversation because I don't want the backlash. I don't want to feel guilty for upsetting someone. I don't want to feel attacked. I don't want to feel all those yucky feelings. So I'm not going to say what I think, right? So we're always avoiding feeling. What if we walked towards it and embraced it instead? Whatever it is, guilt, shame. This is a vibration in my body. It can't kill me. This is guilt. This is shame. What is this vibration like? And how I recommend you do that is you say, what color is it? Guilt. Ooh, it's kind of like a deep blue. It's in my stomach. How fast is it moving? Is it fast or slow? It's pretty slow and sort of echoey. What else does it feel like? Is it sharp? Is it round? Is it soft? Is it hard? What is it like? Okay, guilt is sort of soft and it's like hollow and it's deep blue and it's in my stomach and it's slow. All right. Face is kind of hot. Kind of like feel a tingle in the back of my neck with guilt. So you just allow it to be there. And what's amazing is when we allow it, then we pass through it. It passes through us. When we don't allow it, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and becomes a monster. That is a topic for a different masterclass. So first you feel it, you allow the feeling. We're talking about fear here. And then once you've allowed it, you're opening up that real estate for something else. You think, what am I thinking that was causing me to feel fear? Fear, emotions start in the mind and go to the body. So let's say, I was thinking, I felt fear because I was thinking, I've never done this before. And if I fail, people are going to know. All right. Never done this before. That's true. This is the first time I've done it. So what? So what? If I fail, people are going to know. So what? What am I making that mean? Oh, they'll think I'm not smart enough. So when we get to that thought, we see what's the thought? People might think I'm not smart enough. Then we decide whether we want to keep thinking it. Thoughts are optional. The majority of them are not factual. My clients are always so surprised by this. When they start actually looking at their thoughts and writing them down, they see that almost all of them are not factual, which is great news because if it's subjective, it means you have a choice. So people might think I'm not smart enough. That's not helpful for me to think about. That's not helpful. It's not true. It's just something I'm making up. What if I think instead, people love to see someone going for it? How does that change? Wow, that really changes my perspective. I don't know if I believe it yet or not, so I'm just going to sit with this other one. Most important thing is to think about, sit with the fear and sit with the thought that's creating it. So you really start understanding that it's optional, and that will open up the real estate to make a different choice. All right, we got 2 minutes left, and I promised that we'd sort of end within a half hour. I think I actually said 20 minutes. Sorry. And so I'm just going to say, if you have any questions, please send them to me. I see a few of them coming up in the chat, and I will respond to those. But if you have questions about any of this, please send them to me on direct message on Instagram or Facebook, either one. That's great, and I can answer your questions. If you'd like to do more of this work, I am pretty full right now, and I have a couple clients closing out their work. After the last 6 months, one or two of them, so I'll have a couple spots opening up, and I'm also opening up a wait list for starting in the fall. So if you are interested in this and you'd like to work with me, direct message me. We can set up a consult and get into what you're interested in creating in your life and how we can work together to do it. You were so badass for coming so fearlessly to Fearless at High Noon on Friday the 13th. Thanks for rolling with my ridiculous plays there on words and on days and dates. And I'm so glad you were all here. You have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. That's what I got. Bye.